ram. Ay yada hidai hidai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yada dai 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 dai. Yada dai 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 dai. Yai yai yai. I dai yai dai dum. Yai dai 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 dai. Ya ya da da ya da 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 dum. I ya da ya da 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 ya da da dum. Ya ba ba ya 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 da da ya da da ya ya ya. Ay, 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 yada, da, 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 ay. Boker Tov, good morning. It is a beautiful day outside. I'm sure it'll be a scorcher in a little while. We are here in the next parsha, which is Ki Tetzei. We are moving forward and through Deuteronomy, and soon, weeks away, coming to Rosh Hashanah. And we still have learning to do before we get there. And the planning is, and the excitement is, and the stress of it all. But to start a new year with all of you is just truly a blessing. But really, it's not about starting the new year. It's about how far we've come until we get to the new year, and then how far we'll go after. And so, in this week's Parsha, Ki Tetzei, it's the idea of responsibility. The mitzvah that no one sees, or the holiness of not looking away. So Ki Tetzei contains more mitzvot than any other Torah portion, any other parsha. 74 mitzvot. And while some of them are about family relationships, some of them are about business, some deal with agriculture, farming, warfare, clothing, marriage, poverty, justice, it's almost overwhelming if you go to the translation line by line. But tucked in among all these do's and don't do's is a mitzvah that seems incredibly ordinary. The Torah says, "You shall not see your fellow's ox or sheep straying and ignore it. You must return it." And then a few verses later, the Torah repeats the idea, "You must not hide yourself." You must not hide yourself. The Torah doesn't merely command us to return something that's lost. It anticipates that we're tempted to do something when we see something. What is that temptation? Is it to keep walking, pretend we didn't notice it, tell ourselves, someone else will take care of it. I don't have time for that. And that feels, or makes us question, isn't that human? It's incredibly human. Sometimes helping is inconvenient. We've all been there. We're busy, we're tired, we're already carrying enough, we're on to the next thing, and then someone else's needs appear in front of us. So the simple answer, or the easiest response, is not to see it. But the Torah said you saw it. And once you've seen it, now you're responsible. And that's a powerful idea. Perhaps maybe it's a great moral question. Like, our lives are not simple, and we know it. So the question of morality of our lives isn't simple. It's asking, what did I do? It also asks, what did I notice? There are needs all around us that don't announce themselves. The person sitting alone, the friend who suddenly stopped calling, a coworker that seems quieter than usual, the child who isn't being included, the neighbor who could use a little help, the person who says, "I'm fine," but something in their voice tells you they're not. Sometimes the mitzvah isn't complicated. Sometimes it's simply refusing to just look away. And I think often, for most of us, we imagine that being a good person requires some extraordinary act. I'm going to change the world. I have to give enormous amounts of money. I don't know, sacrifices. But Ki Tetzei, this week's Parsha, gives us a more accessible vision of holiness. See something, notice it, respond. Kind of like all those, all the signage in airports and train stations and places. If you see something, say something. You saw it, it's there, your doing is to tell somebody. And here's what I especially love. Returning someone's lost animal isn't glamorous. Nobody throws you a dinner. Nobody puts your name on a plaque. There's probably no audience at all. But you simply do the right thing. Because it's the right thing. You saw that dog, but you saw that fellow's ox, as it says in Torah, or sheep. You responded. You simply did the right thing. And maybe those are the moments that reveal the most about us. Not who we are when everyone's watching, but who we are when nobody would know if we kept walking. Not who we are when everyone's watching, but who we are when nobody would know if we kept walking. There's a phrase in Hebrew, in Jewish tradition, that says, mitzvah goret mitzvah. One mitzvah leads to another mitzvah. And perhaps that's because every time we train ourselves to notice, we become a little bit more likely to notice the next time. So things like compassion and kindness and responsibility link up, because compassion becomes a habit, kindness becomes instinctual, and responsibility becomes part of who we are. And I think there's also another side to this teaching. Sometimes we are the lost object. Sometimes we're the one wandering, overwhelmed, and hoping someone notices us. And if you've ever been in that place, you probably remember the person who did. The person who called, the person who showed up, the person who didn't accept, I'm fine, quite so quickly. The person who saw you and didn't hide themselves. That's community, that's responsibility, and that's Torah. So we ask ourselves, who may we be overlooking right this minute? Not intentionally, not maliciously, just because life is busy. Who needs a phone call? Who needs a text? Who needs an invitation? 5 minutes of your attention? And perhaps the question of this week's Parsha Ki Tetzei asks us simply, now that you noticed, what are you going to do about it? This Parsha reminds us that holiness doesn't always arrive in these crazy moments. Sometimes it's quietly in your path where we're asked to stop. May we have eyes to notice, hearts that respond, and courage not to hide ourselves from the needs of others. May we remember that we may never know how much one small act of kindness mattered to someone else. But notice the people walking through it with us. Because sometimes the holiest thing we can do is simply refuse to look away. Paying holy attention. May we all find ourselves on this ordinary Wednesday with the ability to refuse to look away. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we'll see you back here. Guess what? Tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a great day, everybody. Get some sun on your face, drink some water, put your sunscreen on, and remember, Open your eyes and don't look away. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 O Rabbeinu Chai.